Hey everyone, welcome back to the video on my Storytime channel. So I'm continuing reading Soccer Duel by Matt Christopher. This book is truly one of my favorite books from the Matt Christopher sports series. Out of all the soccer books in the Matt Christopher sports series, this is probably my favorite one. This is my favorite one. No question there. Yeah, so without further ado, let's continue reading the story then. Okay, here it is. Chapter 2. Chapter 2 of Soccer Duel. Who's that kid? Bryce McCormick wanted to know. He paced the sidelines like a caged lion. I don't know, Eric Dornquist said. One of their subs, I think. Well, he's running rings around our defense, Bryce complained. Come on, defense, he yelled, as his teammates tried in vain to stay with the Hornets sub. Look out, he's gonna score! Bryce's voice trailed off as the newcomer slipped the ball past the outmaneuvered Yellow Jackets goalie. Who is that kid? Bryce asked again. Number 7, Eric replied. I can see that, Bryce said with a scowl. Go over to the bench at halftime and find out, okay? Sure, Eric said. Anything you say, Bryce. Bryce knew his teammates were afraid of his temper, and that was fine with him. His occasional flare-ups had helped them get this far, hadn't they? Undefeated, with a record of 6-0. First place? And a lock to make the playoffs, so they just won one of their remaining games. That wouldn't be any trouble since most of their opponents were the league's bottom feeders, teams that should be pushovers for the Yellow Jackets. With Isaac Mendez out, the Blue Hornets should have been a pushover too. But who was this new kid they had playing for them? He had to be the fastest player in the whole league. And that was a great move we put in defenders, Bryce had to admit. Put me back in, Coach, Bryce demanded. Too late, Bryce, Coach Hickey replied with a shake of his head. Halftime's coming up. Hey, look out, defense! Look out, defense! He suddenly turned his attention back to the field where once again, the new kid was cutting through the bewildered Yellow Jackets defensive line. Come on, Bryce yelled at the top of his lungs. Wake up out there. He winced as the new kid made it as if to shoot. The Yellow Jackets goalie, Sam Plummer, leaped into the air to block the shot, but the kid had faked him out. The ball was still resting at his feet. All he had to do was give the ball a gentle nudge. It rolled slowly into the net just a second ahead of Sam's sliding dive. The ref blew his whistle twice to signal the end of the first half. Tie game, Bryce moaned. I told you to put me back in there, Coach. Look, Bryce, Coach Hickey said with annoyance. You're not on defense anyway. I'll get you in there next half, okay? Meanwhile, adjust your attitude. Bryce skulked off and poured himself a cup of water from the cooler. He stood drinking it as Eric Dornquist ran toward him from across the field. It's Rennie Harding, he said out of breath. What? Bryce turned a disbelieving eye on Eric. That little run is in my science class. The kid's a nerd. Yeah, well, he can play soccer, wouldn't you say? Eric pointed out. Bryce grunted, then tossed his paper cup onto the field, ignoring the nearby trash can. 10 minutes later, the ref blew his whistle to signal the start of the second half. Come on, let's go out there and swat some Blue Hornets, Bryce yelled as he ran to the field, as psyched as he had ever been in his life. But the second half of the game left him feeling totally frustrated. Bryce kept standing there, free and on guard in the Hornets' zone, while the ball remained in the Yellow Jackets' own end, fought over by players from both teams. Every time the ball seemed to be about to come out to him, it was intercepted, most of the time by that kid Rennie. When Rennie took control of the ball in the last minute of play, with the score still tied, Bryce finally gave up. He ran for his own end, determined not to let the run score again. Rennie was dribbling his way around 3 defenders, all of whom looked as if they were rooted to the ground. Bryce came up behind them and cut off his escape route. Rennie was now surrounded by Yellow Jackets right in front of their own goal. The final whistle was going to blow any second, Bryce thought with satisfaction. No way the kid gets a shot off. It's only a tie, but hey, we can live with that. But Rennie had one final trick up his sleeve. He lifted the ball along his leg with his foot, then hopped up into the air, sending the ball skyward. At the top of his arc, he headed over to the defenders to a surprised Hornets forward. The forward managed to get his foot on it, and before anyone knew what was happening, the winning shot was past the goalie, the whistle had blown ending the game, and Rennie's blue-shirted teammates were mobbing him, whooping and hollering. Bryce cursed himself, blinking back tears of rage and humiliation. Finding the ball rolling slowly toward him, he wound up his leg and kicked it so far into the woods surrounding the field that no one would ever find it. It was his team's first defeat, and it had come at the hands of some scrub nobody even paid attention to before. Bryce gritted his teeth and stared at Rennie, who was being lifted onto his cheering teammates' shoulders. You got lucky this game, kid, he murmured under his breath, but I'm going to figure you out. Nobody beats Bryce McCormick on a soccer field. Nobody. Okay, so that's chapter 2 of Soccer Duel by Matt Christopher. Take care, everybody. Another video from my Storytime channel.